Alright, here we are, week number 7 of the AHGL. We're kicking off match number 1 here between Google Pigeon Rank's Rochambeau and Microsoft S's Minesweeper here on Polar Night LE. It's going to be a Protoss versus random game, so we'll see how this matchup shapes up after the internal dice have been rolled. Polar Night is a relatively blink-friendly map, but we'll see. Alright, so we are going to have a PvP here. Alright, we have Rochambeau for Google Pigeon Rank, spawning in the southern position, and Minesweeper for Microsoft S, spawning in the northern position. So I suspect that we are definitely going to see blink from at least one player. You can see here there is an enormous cliff ledge here. Alright, there's a lot of level ground outside the natural. There's no high ground to abuse here by the natural choke. There is high ground back here, but it's difficult to control this space early on after just securing your second base. So again, blink play, very powerful. Mothership core to get up on this ledge. You can bounce in and back between the naturals, the main and the natural very easily. This map is very difficult, I would say, to one-base gateway aggression, and the reason for this is that the Nexus cannon covers a lot of this ramp, and so it makes it very difficult to get a pylon up here where you can camp outside the Nexus cannon range on the high ground. You have to go all the way down over here, and that's difficult and dangerous. We have gateways starting for both players. Looks like 12 gateways. We have a probe going in to scout. Another probe coming in here. On patrol, that'll be a very annoying probe. We'll probably need to see a stalker before it gets killed, unless he decides to, unless he recognizes the patrol pattern, decides to get tricky with his probes here. You see Minesweeper's probe just scouting around the main. Sees the gas. Minesweeper himself already has a geyser up, and he will be going for that second gas. Just 2 in the geyser. He's probably going to put 2 in this geyser as well. So it is, you get more gas than 3 probes on a single geyser. It is obviously more expensive. Does build the second pylon in the main. We have a probe going on a nice long chase over here. And we do have that second gas starting here for Rochambeau. So it's difficult. Basically anything can happen from this point. The builds are very similar. Nothing besides the Cybercore has been revealed. This probe is still happily patrolling around, regenerating its shields every time. Cybercores look like they'll finish at about the same time. And we have a second gateway here for Rochambeau, so he is either expecting some aggression or plans to put on some aggression. One of those. Stalker being chrono boosted out here. No warp gate started for the blue player just yet, and he has the money for it, so he needs to start that very soon. Especially since he's got a lower gateway count than his opponent at the moment. Third pylon going down in the main, so no immediate warp gate aggression coming here. Robotics facility goes down, but again, he needs to start this warp gate. Cannot delay warp gate in a Protoss versus Protoss matchup. We have Rochambeau chrono boosting his warp gate here to finally take care of this probe. And I'm not sure what happened to Rochambeau's probe up here, but it was most likely either chased out or killed. He does have the Squawker scatting around in pylons. Does have the watchtower with a probe here, but this stalker is not going to let that last. I believe he is. Yes, he is heading for this watchtower, so that probe's days are numbered. Mothership pours out. Robo going down. Probe does die. So map control goes to the pink Protoss for a moment. We have a sentry here. Finally started a warp gate, but Rochambeau's warp gate is almost done. So he may be able to do some aggression here. He doesn't have a proxy pylon up. although it looks like he's going to set one here. It's a little bit late. His warp gate is almost done, so it should have been building earlier. But we should see these morph into warp gates here. He's got a third gateway. Robo just finishing. Building a fourth gateway. So this is all in one base aggression here from the pink Protoss. So we have an Immortal coming out here for Minesweeper to get that defense, and he's got this probe here, so I'm not... Is he looking to be aggressive himself? I'm not sure. We'll see who meets what. Mothership Core 2 Stalkers coming in, but they won't be able to do much against this Immortal if it decides to show its hand. Pylons creeping closer and closer to the base. And we have these warp gates now all started. An Immortal coming out. Protoss. Pushes up here, but there's no expansion. That's what Stalker needs to run. 2 beats 1. Just about any day of the week. Probe looks to be building a Nexus here, but he spends his money on other things. These 2 gateways have been added on. The warp gate is now done, so he should be making that. Second Immortal on the way. Looks like we're going to have a one base on one base stalemate here for a little while. Looks like Rochambeau will be the first person to dare to throw down the Nexus. But he's going to chase away that probe first. I guess he doesn't want to kill. Immortal will kill it off. We should see that Nexus thrown down soon, and our blue player should suspect that it is on the way. We have an observer camped out here, and Rochambeau needs to retreat, I think. Nexus going down for blue. Rochambeau will retreat here. He could leave this observer to watch the army, but he will retreat his own army. Nexus slightly ahead here for the pink Protoss, and we do have a Stargate on the way. So maybe he's going to directly attempt to counter these Immortals. Possibly with some Void Rays, maybe Phoenix. Not totally sure. Both cases have very similar base setups at this point. We have 4 warp gates and 1 robo versus 3 warp gates and 1 robo. Very heavily saturated main. You just see a very hefty transfer once this Nexus finishes. And Minesweeper's main is not quite so saturated, so his build seems a little more efficient. But he's down as a buff. So, again, PvP is a very explosive, volatile matchup, and both players here seem to be treading very carefully. Pseudo-defensively, pseudo-aggressively. Here comes the probe transfer. These are pink Protoss, I'm sorry. We're going to focus down those mobs. Minesweeper's Nexus here finishes at the same time. We do have that Void Ray building, so he will be channeling his money into that. Probes building at both next side for both players. And Blue Protoss decides to throw down a Forge, so he will be going for those upgrades. And we see a huge... that's way too many workers to transfer. That's way too many workers. He needs to transfer some of those back to the main. There's still quite a bit of minerals here. This could hurt a lot. I don't know if that was a misclick. Maybe he accidentally double-clicked the probe and select everything. I mean, because he pulled everything out of even the gases. Alright, so there he goes. He is transferring some workers back. So that was a mistake, and he didn't recognize it. Pink is moving out. His army supply is slightly greater than the blue Protoss's. Worker count is slightly greater as well. Just kind of ahead in supply, ahead in tech. He is starting +1 air weapons, in fact. A supply blocked for a moment, but Pylon will alleviate that. And he's just going to come take these watchtowers. Alright. Kill off a couple zealots. Still has these proxy pylons up, so if he wants to push, he does have a close reinforcement point. Let's see what the blue Protoss's response to this move out is here. Let's see what if Rochambeau maybe tries to take a third behind this. He could. I think he has the army count to do it. Throws down 2 more Stargates, so he's going to commit heavily to this air. suspect we'll see a fleet beacon sooner rather than later if you commit this heavily into air. Blue Protoss is throwing down cannons, so he's expecting either oracles or DTs, neither of which is the case, unfortunately. Could also get a lucky deny on an observer if Rochambeau doesn't babysit that properly. No observer for Minesweeper just yet, so this observer from the pink Protoss is going to have complete surveillance of his army. And we do see Rochambeau throwing down that third Nexus, so he is just going to camp out here. I'd like to see him scout over here, make sure that blue isn't taking the third Nexus of his own. But we're going to see a move out here. Observer following, just tracking that army carefully. Should leave it on the army instead of pulling it back to his own. More warpins from the pink Protoss. And he's going to engage here, and with this Void Ray count, I think he's got it. Shredding through these stalkers immediately. Force fields trap everything in. Zealots come against the Immortals. Everything melts. Perfect engagement here from Rochambeau. He obliterates everything. Loses very little himself. We're going to see blue tap out here. Now, just poor engagement. Army composition was not ready for this Immortal Zealot Void Ray power punch that just came through. He's got nothing. Mothership Core is dead, no Photon Overcharge. This cannon will do a little work on those Zealots, but they'll clean it up in due time. And the Nexus will fall. We have a massive supply lead here for the pink Protoss. And we should see GG called soon. There's no way for Minesweeper to hold this position. These prismatic beams shredding through everything. And take up the Cyber Core, that's no more Stalkers, no more here. Robo goes down next. Mortal sticking here on the Nexus. GG is killed. So a very patiently played game overall. Just a lot of very timid pokes and scouting from both players, but as we see, our blue player never really made an observer, so he was not prepared for the Void Ray attack, and his army composition just was not able to handle it. So Google Pigeon rank goes up 1-0 in this best of 5 series, and we should start the next game up shortly. Alright, game number 2 here is now underway. Technically, game number 3 in the predetermined lineup, but one of the game number 2 players has not yet arrived, so we're going a bit out of order. As far as the series is concerned, though, this is game number 2. It'll be here on Ultrazim Stronghold Tournament Edition between EWJ, I'm just going to call him Iwi, here from the Microsoft S team, playing as Terran, versus Fixpoint from Google Pigeon rank, playing as Random. So this is our second random match in a row. We'll see what the matchup actually winds up being. And it will be a TVZ here on Ultrazim Stronghold. And already we have the Lucky Overlord rallying to the correct position. So he will know where his opponent is, and if he does not pull back in time, his opponent will also know exactly where his opponent is. But if he does micro that Overlord carefully to spot the minerals and then retreats it, he will have knowledge of where his opponent is located, but his opponent will not know where he is without scouting it himself. Unfortunately, this Overlord is taking a bit of a break, and he's going to change course, which is unfortunate because his opponent is down this way. But that is neither here nor there. It's a trivial thing. You have that supply depot starting. Second Overlord about to pop here. Overlord feels a little late. I think that might have been a 10 Overlord. So he will create those 3 drones immediately. Yes, he will. Bit of a supply block here for the Terran. Looks like he started his supply depot a little late as well. But he will send this SCV out. And where is it? Is it rallied? Is it rallied all the way over? It is. He's going to check the crossbones first. So I guess he's assuming that this is a crossbones only map, which is unfortunate because that's incorrect. As we can see right here, this is not a crossbow, it's on the map. We have the barracks going down here for the Terran, and we're going to see a quick expansion here from the Zerg. No reason not to. Just building this hatchery in the back. What we've seen a lot of Zergs do, actually, is get their natural hatchery up here. Because the Zerg's defense is largely dependent on creep. So if you can secure this base early with creep, because it's going to be almost as hard to secure whether it's your natural or your third. If you can secure this base early with creep, well then you can just take a free third in the back of your base later. But that will not be the case here. We have this gas finishing. Just starting to mine that. Marine building. See, based on the timing of this gas, it looks like we're gonna maybe see reactored Hellions here after a second Marine. Not sure. We do have this SCV now taking unfortunately the longest possible path to discover his opponent. Zerg player just droning up happily, getting this extractor, getting a spawning pool. We do have that second barrack going down, and a tech lab here. So no factory, no reactored Hellions, that's for sure. No expansion either. We are going to see some one-base aggression here from the Microsoft Terran. Marauders started Stimpack, so I suspect we'll see another barracks soon. There is going to be some kind of bio timing here. And this SAV is actually going to come straight home. He's not even going to scout his opponent here. And Fixed Point is going for a third hatchery already. Building more drones. Getting that lair. But he has no queens. He hasn't built a single queen. And he's already getting a lair. He's going to lose this Overlord too, it looks like. He's flying it out there, but there's no high ground to hide behind. So if the Terran goes to lower his depot, this Marine will get the kill. But he's not doing that just yet, so it looks like he will just play it safe and stay here in his base. Stim is already halfway done. Fixed Point is finally building one of those queens. And his third base will be finishing up shortly. Few Lings building. We have a lot of gas stockpiling for this Zerg, so potentially a Spire will be on the way soon. Not a particular fan of this build. Where's the Spire? There's the Spire. Right here in the back. It's a bit of an exposed place. That's where the Terran is going to drop, unfortunately. This is a very drop-centric position. So that may get sniped later on in the game. But for now, the Terran's just going to be going on one base aggression. He's going to push out with this bio now. Starts a factory at last. He's got Marines 2 at a time, plus a Marauder. So he'll push out here, and he's going to get this third. Link speed is only just starting. A Baneling Nest is only just starting. So we're going to see Fixed Point flood Lings here. But if he rallies, and there he goes, four more Marines and another Marauder coming out, these should join up, and I think he's going to get this third. Which, so long as Fixed Point continues to drone on his 2 bases, I think that's okay, because the Terran doesn't even have an expansion yet. He's not claiming this. Stim is done. Concussive Shells just about to finish. We have the push in right here. Stim went down. Possibly unnecessary. Especially on these back units, Stim did not benefit at all. Hatchery will go down here. But after the hatchery dies, these Lings are going to flood out, and all this bio is going to die. The Lings here, you can get a few kills if they're hit by the movements. And we should see the Terran player try to take this advantage to this opportunity to retreat. Isaiah's going to go forward. Does stim, but that's his second stim, I believe, and it's too much. Everything here gets cleaned up. Overlord is saved. And speed is finishing, so he's going to push out here. We should see the Terran. Yes, he will. He needs to pull back and raise his depot. He doesn't want to let these Lings inside. He might have enough... Actually, never mind. The Lings aren't coming. So false alarm there. He's going to push out again with more bio. But I think that's a mistake. What is this drone doing? Where is this drone going? I guess he's going to scout, check for a third. I don't know what this drone is doing. We do have that third rebuilding. Spire is done. 4 Mutalisks here on the way. We need to see the Zerg build some more Overlords to supply block here. More Bio pushing out. And we have a Widowmine joining the party. Followed by a Tech Lab for that factory. There's not... Fixed Point hasn't made any more units. So he could lose this third again. And he's going to want to pull... These banelings are not going to be done in time. He's going to want to pull his army back and group it up so he can handle this. He can't afford to throw these away, particularly the Mutalisks. He does get baited in, loses the Zerglings. He does pull the Mutalisks back though. The banelings will run in and get 2 amazing hits. Amazing hits. And the Lings will clean up everything else. His Bio runs in here and just dies. We need to see an Overseer to clean up this Widowmine. He doesn't want to lose stuff to that, but this Widowmine isn't going to do very much of anything following this. Tyrant player continues to be super saturated on one base. Build these turrets. Still not taking his expansion. So he's putting himself at a heavy disadvantage here. Widowmine sneaks in. He is trying to get that drone transfer, but Fixed Point does see it, so he will not transfer those drones. He will make the Overseer first. Single drone takes the hit. For the greater good. And finally we have this expansion going down for the Tyrant player, but it's very late. Zerg basically has... Zerg has a superior army. It's stronger, it's more mobile. So he's got a license to drone at this point. He doesn't take care of the Widowmine though. He has to do that. And this medevac... There it is. Why is it so hard to see on the minimap? So medevac coming in here, but it's been scouted by 2 Overlords. So we should see Fixed Point react quickly to this, but the drop will land. They will kill this Queen. If he doesn't pull the drone, he's going to get a bunch of those too. Mutalisks will fly in, but I'm not sure they're enough to handle these Marines. They're just barely enough, but he kind of really doesn't want to engage. But he did lose a bunch of drones. But he loses all the Marines as the Mutalisks sweep in as they try to focus down the Spire. Command center finishing in the back here. Zerg lost a bunch of drones there, more than he wanted to. He should focus on getting some... There he does. He's got 12 drones building here. Should focus on getting those Queens back up. He's got a lot of minerals on these 3 bases. And as scary as it may sound, his economy is actually kind of equal with the Terran at this point. If we check income real quick. Yeah, he's got a little more mineral income, but he's got the same number of workers, and he's just not taking advantage of these 3 bases the way he should. He does have a camp out up here, but he doesn't have nearly enough forces to break this, and if he does try to break this, that's a huge mistake. Never push up a tiny ramp against a Terran until you have Brood Lords. Then you can do it, but not before. Mutalisks fly in the back here, but there's lots of turrets. He might snipe one, though. No, doesn't chance it. Just gonna camp back here. Maybe try to get the factory? Although, with all these Marines right here, he's likely not gonna get anything done. Does have a Ling here watching the third. It's got Overlords and Ling spread all around, so if the Terran player tries to sneak anything out, he'll know immediately. He is pushing out with this Bio, but I think that the Lings and Mutas here are enough to clean that up, especially if they leave the cover of these tanks. We'll burrow that Widowmine, get a little more territory control here. Fixed Point continuing to bulk up back on, gets 2 Evo Chambers. His drone count remains low though, and he's still packing a bunch of minerals. So he has the potential here to just pull away with the game, but his macro is just not here at the moment, so he's not doing that. Well, it's 12 more Lings, 2 more Mutalisks. Does have that Carapace building here. And the Spire. Did he get +1 attack? He did not. Alright, so he's just starting. Carapace here. Terran player's upgrades. He has +1 attack finished. +1 armor is over halfway done. And but we do not see an armory yet. Or a second engineering bag. Tons of Picos back here. This is actually a weak point. The Mutas fly in here. They could snipe a bunch of these. You have this base finished and running, but it's not very saturated at all. You have the Zerg player just stockpiling units here. And if he goes, I think he wins this fight, maybe. Maybe. He does pull back. He does not want to engage those tanks. And he needs to start flooding more units. He's got plenty of money to do it. Plenty of money. It looks like the Terran... Alright, he unchooses his tanks, so he looks like he wants to move out. Zerg still has got a ton of larvae sitting here. Not taking advantage of this third base. Drone count is equal with Terrans right now, which is not where you want to be because mules then pull the Terran player ahead. Main here, super oversaturated. There's way too many SCVs. He's about to finish mining out that main. And the Zerg player is about to finish mining out the main too. He needs to start transferring those drones. Terran player just being very cautious. He will poke out here, and he's going to try to bait these units back into siege tank fire. Zerg player does not fall into that though. More Lings rallying. We have +1 Carapace starting, but +1 melee. Not just yet. Need to see some more Overlords. Just to spend this bank. He's got nearly 3,000 minerals here. That if he spends it, he can easily overwhelm it. He's going to try to circle in behind it, it looks like. Maybe even try to go for the main. But upon getting shot by tanks back there, he decides not to do it. He's going to try to snipe these tanks. And he has a lot of mutas here. 21 mutalisks. So he's getting to be at that scary number. We have a ping going down in the back here. Indeed, we have 41 out of 24 SCVs flying this natural. Vikings snipe the Overseer, but the Vikings are getting a little too greedy. The Mutas can kill them at this point. And they will. Vikings go too far forward. I think they get 1 Mutalist for their troubles, but the rest of them die. It's definitely a mistake. Terran player continuing to have basically 1 base saturation. Only 1 SCV on this geyser here. Third base continues to have no drones. Main here, fixed point, totally oversaturated. Natural still kind of undersaturated, and 3 drones here at the 4th. At this point, the Zerg is really on a little more than a 2-base economy, despite his very high drone count for what would normally be a 2-base economy. Terran player is just camping this position. It covers his 3rd that he doesn't have yet. And Zerg is just trying to make sure he doesn't move out. But he's not doing anything to capitalize on this map control that he has. He could fly in with these mutas easily. He now got nearly 30 mutalisks. He's got 29. 29 mutalisks can power down 4 turrets easily, even with mass repair on SCVs. But he may be scared of Widow Mines. He doesn't know whether Widow Mines are back here or not. We do have that 3rd CC starting here for the Terran at last. Supplies between the 2 players relatively even. Same worker count, same army supply. Zerg only slightly ahead. Terran pushing up further, getting that bit of Widow Mine burrowed up. But if he groups these Overseers with these Mutalisks, which is typically what you want to do because Mutalisks are most vulnerable to Widow Mines. Could snipe that, but not with the army sitting on top of it now. Zerg player will back up, and he's going to lose. He loses an Overlord. He pushes in with these Zerglings, but that's a mistake. Tanks shred everything. The Marines live, and he's engaging with the Mutalisks. He's going to lose all the Mutalisks to these Marines. These Marines have 1-1 against these 0-1 Mutalisks. He does pull them back. But he lost all his Zerglings, and he's down in army count now. He needs to really take advantage of this bank and flood more units. We will see these Mutalisks go for the counter now. He may be trying to snipe these tanks, and he's going to get... Nope, doesn't get the 1 tank. Bio paying too much attention. We have observers commenting on the dynamics of that last engagement here. Third command center finishing here. Bunch of idle drones in the main, finally being transferred. Muta count is at 25. And, oh no, I gotta see 2 dead overlords here. Vikings are gonna pick them off along a couple of ranges. More overlords coming out here, so we do have a bad rally point here, unfortunately. Now, there's a couple overlords, but he's got plenty in the bank, so he'll not be supplied long anytime soon. Mutalisk again flying around, and upon seeing the Terran player move out, it looks like he is going to try to back sweep. Turret's only just finishing back here. But, no, he will pull his Mutalisk back. He wants to have them here for the defense. Terran player is slowly, carefully moving forward. Tanks back here. If he knew about these, he could sweep in with. He could pick all of these off. That would be an excellent pickup for the Zerg. But he needs to pull back. He can't. He's engaging Stin Marines. Alright, I still have 1-1. He loses all the Mutalisks. He has no Banelings here. No Zerglings to push him. Terran player pushes in, and the Arving supply is overwhelming. GG is called. Game is over. So that puts it at 1-1. Alright, it is now tied between Microsoft S and Google Pigeon Rank. So we'll go into logical game 3 shortly and see which way the scales tip. Alright, going into game 3 here. Logical game 3, chronological game 2. Between J Money, the Silver Protoss for Google Pigeon Rank, and GSC, the Bronze Zerg for Microsoft S, here on Daedalus Point. We have J Money, the Google Pigeon Rank, spawning here in the northwest position. GSC for Microsoft S, spawning in the southeast. Building those drones, not sending his Overlord out just yet. It's a bit of a mistake. This is a huge map. Alright, he will send that Overlord now. Really do want to have at least one, preferably 2 Overlords in position somewhere on the outskirts of the base so that you can scout inside at that critical 5:30, 6-minute mark to see what the Protoss is doing. You want to see whether he's getting that 1-gate Robo into Forges, throwing down that Stargate, or, in the worst of scenarios, throwing down 6 to 7 gateways. Just about so. Warping pylons next to your base. Got second Overlord done. More drones building here for the Blue Zerg. And J Money here, building his pylon next to his Nexus. He will not be walled. There's a mistake in the event of an early pull. And we have a bit of an early pull here. We have a 12 pull and a gas. So we're going to see a fast speed build here from the Microsoft Zerg. Looks like he wants to deny this natural. He doesn't want to let the Protoss take this natural. And this map is, of all maps, this is a map where you can totally do it. This ramp is huge. It's very far from the Nexus. And the Nexus is very exposed as a result. It's very difficult to get up enough buildings and cannons to really make this link-proof. So we're going to see the Zerg player try to exploit that. He immediately got 3 drones in gas. We should see him start that Queen. Build the drone first. And he's saving minerals, so not building that Queen just yet, but I suspect we will see it soon. So we can get those injects down. I'll just build more drones. Got a lot of minerals here. I think delaying the Queen is a mistake. We'll see him start speed shortly. Very shortly, I would hope. Cybernetics Core almost finishing here. Protoss mining on just the 1 gas. Alright, speed starts, but we have a ton of minerals here for GSC. And we see him building those 2 Overlords, getting another drone. And he does pull off gas, but a little bit later than he probably would have liked to. Mothership Core finishing here for the Protoss player. And these late Overlords and complete lack of Queen are going to really hurt this build. It doesn't have the aggressive potential that it could have had. He's got enough minerals now to throw down an expansion. His inject is super delayed, so he's not going to be able to flood those lanes at that critical time. We'll see. The Protoss hasn't scouted any of this yet, I do not believe. So we'll see what he winds up doing. We see 2 drones going back into gas. So maybe he's trying to build a Baneling nest. His Queen will pop out soon. There it goes. Should say the inject throw down. We have nearly 700 minerals here for GSC. So we need to see some hatcheries. He has to build hatcheries. We have a wall starting here with the Protoss. He's got the forge building. Does get another gateway. He throws down another pylon, alright. He's got a small gap here, which he could attempt to cover with a cannon. Or maybe just a couple of units. We have GSC finally expanding. We had the minerals for this a long time ago. The Protoss player's second Nexus is already done. So the Protoss is very heavily economically ahead at this point. We should see him throw down a safety cannon soon. I don't... What has he seen? What has J-Money seen? He's seen nothing. He has seen absolutely nothing. He's scouted nada. So he is playing rather dangerously at this juncture. Lings will go out here. And we need to see... The Lings are not... Are they going to avoid the watchtower? What are they... Where are they... Alright, so they're going to check this watchtower. And then maybe they'll try to go into the natural? This is very... More Lings coming. There's a lot of Lings for this third player. A lot of money for this third player. Falling behind on the ejects already. These Lings will push up, but the wall goes down. And we have the Mothership Core here defending. He could focus this down very quickly, though. That's going to go down. So we need to see some very skillful defense here from the Protoss. Nexus Cannon, I think, can cover the backside of this gateway here. He can cover this pylon. In fact, the unit does get canceled. Throws down a Time Warp instead of a overcharge. But he has thinned out the Ling count quite a bit. And he's going to hide his Immortal back here. He needs to defend it back. 4 Lings coming in here to the main. They're assaulting these probes. Cannon's going down, but what are they going to do? They have nowhere near enough to finish. Then he's going to focus this Immortal, but he will in fact defend with the War Prism there. We have a lair starting. No more Lings on the way just yet. Natural undersaturated, but he's doing a ton of probe damage here. Again, this wall was just not ready. And we see the Protoss player with units all over here for defense, but he's not defending. He will push in now. With some mortal should be fine against a small number of Lings. And the Mothership Core with 2 Zealots will clean up the rest of these Lings. Photon Overcharge goes down to clean up the remainder. +1 finishing soon. So Protoss does stabilize. We want to see him finish up this wall here. If that's stable. A couple Lings try to run to the main, but the Zealots do clean that up. And looks like GSC's follow-up to this Ling aggression is Spire. But with two drones on a single geyser, he does not have the gas income to flood any significant number of Mutalisks. He does throw down those 3 geysers now. And we should see him transfer a bunch of these drones. His name is oversaturated, so he could transfer 6 of them to fill these geysers without much loss. But for right now, he is building Lings. Geysers do finish. We'll see how long it takes for him to fill those. He has only just barely enough gas to get 2 Mutalisks when the Spire finishes at the moment. And, well, any number of Mutalisks is good against army, which has no anti-air whatsoever. So there is that. But we've got 4 Zealots, 3 more warping in, a single Immortal in the event of urgence. And we'll see what our Zerg player attempts to do here. going to go for the Zealots instead of the Immortals. Immortals doesn't get twice as much damage. Zealots are tanking the Zerglings super well. But we're going to need to see some Stalker workings if he wants to keep this army alive, because Needles are about to pop. There is nothing that shoots up here, but at the same time, he's got an overwhelming army supply. The Natural is destroyed. Protoss is sitting happily on 2 bases. I do believe he will lose this army slowly, but he might even take out the lair in the meantime. We have 2 Stalkers working here, which are not enough to handle 3 Mutalisks, but it looks like he will get 1 Mutalist for a couple. He does. Starts focusing on that second one. Will he get it? I'm not sure. Might just barely get it. Doesn't. 1 hit short. But 3 more Stalkers warp in, and this 1 Mutalist can't handle those. Drones pull here to take down the Stalkers, but what are they defending at this point? Massive mining supply. GG is called. Alright, so Google Pigeon rank is now up 2-1 in this series. And we will go to match point here in game 4. Alright, game 4 underway here. It's going to be a ZVZ on Heavy Rain between Google Pigeon Rank's GAC and Microsoft S's Xander. GAC has had a propensity for landing himself Zerg vs. Zerg matchups here in the AHGL. Not sure whether that is a good thing for the amount of practice he has in it, or a bad thing for how frustrating the ZVZ matchup is. We will have both players rallying their overlords out instantly, quicker than some rallies we've seen in other matches from Zerg players in this series, so again, it's extremely difficult to judge what one's level of macro, micro, and strategic decision making is from early on in the game, but there are little tells that aren't strong, but they are something. For instance, if you see a player carefully microing their workers to get them onto the close mineral patches, that often, it doesn't mean they're great by any means, but it usually means that they're not terrible, that they're not new at the game, because they do have this attention to detail going on. And after that, we'll see second Overlords have come out for both Zerg players. Both of them going up to at least 14 drones here. They are stockpiling minerals, but not larvae though. We do see Xander saving up, so he is going to go for that hatch first. And GAC is not sending it, and he is actually sending out a drone. Eat my words there. So we're going to see hatch first versus hatch first here. This will be a macro game to some extent. Blue's hatchery is a few seconds ahead. I guess he sent his drone out earlier. I'm not certain what caused that to happen. We do see Blue throwing down a gas immediately to follow as he scouts around space. Not really sure of what the point of scouting around your base against a Zerg player in a ZVZ really is. Spawning pools going down for both players at the same time. I mean, yeah, I suppose there could be... at the very least, you want to check the edges of your creep for spine crawlers in the event of a 6 pool or a 7 pool. But at this stage in the game, like, that would have already happened. If you're scouting at the 3 and 10-second mark for spine crawlers, well, that spine crawler is like almost done. It's a little late to be scouting at that point. Both players happily mining gas. A little bit ahead in supply here, while Xander is a little bit ahead in money. Both of them seem to be waiting for that pool to finish. 6 lings and a spine crawler for the Blue Zerg, so he's being very defensive here. But he has seen the hatch first of his opponent. Double Queen going down here for our Pink Zerg. Only 1 queen for the Blue Zerg just yet. Doesn't quite have the money for that second queen. He has the money for speed, but he hasn't started that yet, whereas Gak here has started his speed already. Still mining 3 drones and gas, so I suspect we'll see that Baneling Nest come up very soon. Whether it's defensive or offensive, it will go down. Both queens now popping for the pink Zerg. We do see the inject of the natural and the main. Or is it still just the one queen for the blue Zerg? He does start this second queen here. He's got 10 lings here and a spine collar here for defense, but pink isn't attacking him. In fact, the only attacking he's doing is he's going to kill this overlord with the queen, which is a nice little pickup. It's going to slow down Xander's build quite a bit. And he will retreat to get that new inject. Blue's sitting here defensively. What is he? He's building more drones. His speed is almost done, but the pink Zerg speed is going to finish first. And Gak's already starting a lair. Speed Zerglings run in. They're going to get a perfect scout, go straight past the spine collar. He's going to pick off a couple drones here. He's going to get the queen. He's going to get the queen. Blue's just going to hold his ramp. He knows that he can't do anything against speedlings, which can just run circles around him. And Gak's going for the Baneling Nest. Doesn't have enough firepower to bring it down, though. Looks like he's going to try to run out of here. Does go to pick off a few drones. Doesn't get them, though. Loses a couple lings on the way out, and he will retreat. Blue Zerglings will give chase, but more pink Zerglings are on the way. So these will be defended. Blue will have to retreat. He's going to pull back carefully. It looks like he's going to go for the surround, and he gets it. He cleans up all the blue Zerglings. Loses only 1 or 2 of his own in the process. And this game, as sorry as it is to say, it looks over. Pink is ahead in every way. He's ahead in economy. He's ahead in army. He's ahead in tech. He's got his spire down already. Finally building that Baneling Nest. Zergling's running here to the main, and there's nothing to defend it. This hatchery is going to go down. Xander is forced to sit at his natural. Queen, that Swans will immediately get picked off. He is going to try to defend this with Banelings, but with some good Ling Micro, he will avoid these. And there he goes. Dancing back and forth, trying to get a few Zerglings out to pick him off. Loses 1 Baneling already. He will defend the hatchery. Zerglings will run past these spine collars, and they will get away. A few casualties on the retreat, but so many drones were killed, and this hatchery is going to be super vulnerable to a Mutalisk snipe in just a couple minutes. This spire is almost done. Alright. More drones here at the natural. They're going to fill up these gases. Whereas our blue Zerg is sitting on 18 drones versus 40. He's going to move out here, but he's got quite a bit of lings. But the 4 Banelings are on the way. Queen here to back up lings for defense. So Xander is all in at this point. And it's a very tight window here because there's 4 Mutalisks building. Gak knows he's way ahead. He's building attack instead of carapace, which you typically never build +1 fire attack in this matchup. You always want to get carapace because that's what lets you beat your opponent's Mutalisks. Zerglings run in here, but there are Banelings to defend, and the Mutalisks, we should see the Mutalisks try to pick off these Banelings. Oh no, they're going to go straight. No, they will pull back. Mutalisks look to be picking off these Banelings. You have an engagement here, banging good hits on both sides. So all the Zerglings die, which is extremely typical of ZBZ. Just a massive explosion of green acid and everything disappears. Mutalisk will clean up the straggler Zerglings. And we do see Spore Crawlers going down to natural, but he's only just now starting Spore Crawlers in the main, and that's not quick enough. These Spore Crawlers are going to be sniped. It looks like he will lose this hatchery. He's got a queen building, but it doesn't pop out for a little time. This Overlord is buying him some time. But I think this Spore Crawler will get focused down. Maybe no, it just finishes just in time. So that Overlord here stalled just enough for him to get those spores up. He's going to poke here at the front. He does poke here, but loses a Mutalisk. Gets too close to those spores. So he's just going to camp out here, and And Xander can't do anything about it. He's got a ton of Zerglings, but the instant he moves out, Gak will know. Alright, we see that right now. Mule is chasing. Zerglings will run. But we should just see our pink Zerg flood Zerglings himself. Maybe. The blue Zerglings do retreat. They did not go for the attack. We're up to 10 Mutalists, 4 more on the way. Can't get this base. It's too heavily defended by Spore. But we will be able to get this Spine. And he's thinking about getting this Queen, but it's too close to the Spores. Can't afford to lose too many Mutalists like that. Mutalists fly in like this, and they're going to focus down those Overlords. Lings run out and turn. And here we go. So we do have defensive flooding. Gak may lose this third hatchery if blue decides to focus it, but no, he's not even going to go for it. He's going to try to run in here. He's taking a bunch of damage from these Lings. I think he can still beat these Lings, but not against a comp like that. Mutalists do fly in here. Blue does manage to focus down a couple drones, but again, he's just so far behind economically right now. 28 supply to 86. We see the Infestation Pit. 2 Evos going down for Pink Zerg. We see he has 13 Mutalists. He's building 18 more Zerglings. What can Xander do? What can he do at this point? He's not gonna die to these mutas. He flooded the spores properly. He knew he needed to flood those, and he did. But he can't move out with anything except Zerglings. Spore gets almost focused down here, but it's covered by the other two, so he loses 2 mutas in the process. Nice little pick off here for the blue Zerg. He's getting more and more Zerglings. We see centrifugal hooks going down for our pink Zerg. He starts a hive. So it looks as though I think he's going to try to go Ultras here. It doesn't really make sense to go Vipers at this point, and Broodlords are kind of overkill for this stage. We do have Banelings morphing in here, 6 of them for defense. It looks like they will finish in time. Blue morphs in, what was that? That's 14 Banelings of his own. But the thing about Banelings is that they don't scale, particularly against Banelings. 2 Banelings can take out as many as 20 if they're clumped up. You do see the blue Zerg pushing in here. His Banelings are split up, which may actually be more of a help than a harm. And massive explosions. All the Lings die. We're going to see the Mutalists need to pull back. He's going to lose a bunch of drones here. Ooh. A bunch of drones die. And we do see the blue Zerg doing indisputable damage here at this juncture. But again, just look at the supplies. It's 106 to 50. 50 drones to 22. He has to do damage like this, 3 more times to even consider to be back in it. 13 more Mutalists for the pink Zerg on the way. Hive is done. We have 1-1 starting, which sounds a little weird. You start 1-1 after the Hive is done. Typically, it is 3-3 starting. We have the blue Zerg continuing to build Zerglings, and he's lasting for a while because his drone count is low. He's trying to get the most out of these minerals that he's mining. Finally starting his lair. But what can he do? He does sneak. Nope, he doesn't. We do see Gak spy these Zerglings. Goes to cut them off with his Mutalists. Again, supply is nearly double for the pink Zerg. 16 Banelings marking, and he's taking no chances now. He doesn't want to get a scare like he did before, where he was swarmed in by Banelings. Lost a bunch of drones. And there we go. We have the Ultralisk. We have the Ultralisk Cavern Design. He's building a single Ultralisk. Can afford to build a couple more. He's got a bunch of drones here in the main that he could transfer. Loser trying to sneak down the side here. And we will... 4th hatchery going down. 4 bases to 2. Natural slowly getting mined out. It's about half empty now. Or more than half empty. So everything's running here, but what are they going to do? They're going to all explode. Every single one. Totally torn up by banelings. And rather efficiently at that. We've got this one Ultralisk, and like, this one... He can't even kill... Dak could literally send in this one Ultralisk and probably win with that. He can't even kill... He's building 11 Hydras. Alright, so that's wrong. He can kill the one Ultralisk with 11 Hydras. But, we're gonna see the Lings flood in now. Hydras are not yet done. As soon as these spores go down, we're gonna see the Mutalisks flood in. Steam goes down, drones go down, more Lings flooding in. And once the spores are gone, it's game over because then the Mutas fly in. The Hydras alone, they can't even handle the ground army. So GG is called. Google Pigeon rank takes it, 3-1. And that is the end of week 7. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.